Oh my God, Dominic Galante, LaSalle, Mr. LaSalle. He's it. And has been for 50 years.
Extremely helpful,
Always nice.
extremely fair,
Lots of fun.
generous with his time.
Pretty much knows everything about LaSalle.
Dominic Galante is somebody that is just full of life. He's always interested in what people say. He's interested in talking to people and finding out what's going on. So he's just somebody that's always sort of bubbling over and, upbeat.
A lot of things come to my mind. He's a mentor. He's a friend. Frivolity comes to mind. Memory. He's got the most amazing memory of anyone I know. He remembers names, what people wore to their interviews, what was said in a meeting in 1982. He remembers it all. He's compassionate. He's passionate about his job, LaSalle. He's just a great guy, a supporter of everyone in our office. Great boss. And did I mention frivolity?
Immediately I smile. When you say Dominic's name, I smile. Because Dominic is, he's just a wonderful guy, to be perfectly honest. His compassion, his efficiency, his willingness to help me, help my students, unparalleled.
What comes to mind is a very hardworking, detail-oriented, but fun guy.
His kindness, his generosity, his love of LaSalle, his love of students at LaSalle and staff at LaSalle, and his willingness to do whatever it takes to do things right. That's. I also think about his sense of humor, his compassion, his friendship.
Dominic Galante comes to mind, Tijuana. Because Dominic and I and Keith Higgins once took a road trip during spring break to Tijuana, and things got a little out of control. That's enough said.
Best dressed man on campus.
Newsy.
I have lots of funny memories, but I don't want either one of us to get fired, so I won't tell all. But I think, when in a simpler time, his Christmas and July parties, which were just a wonderful community builder, many, many lunch table stories, running into each other at the beach and not recognizing each other because he wasn't in a suit and tie and I wasn't in business attire, and just lots of joyful, joyful times.
Dominic, the first time I met him, I felt like I knew him for 10 years. I went over to the Registrar's office and I was introduced to Dominic Galante, and we began to speak about parishes. And then he was from a parish where my father grew up in, so once we started talking about parish boundaries, then we had that connection. And I feel that he was my friend always.
In the words of my boss, what happens in the Registrar's office stays in the Registrar's office.
I worked for Ray Ritchie, and they would have a director's meeting every other week, and they came up with this plan. Dominic was all about his dentist, and they had me come down and interrupt the meeting and say, Dominic, your dentist is on the phone, it's an emergency, and they all cracked up, I think.
But my first week here at LaSalle was in July of 1996, and so I'm sure I met Dominic that week. And at the end of that week, it happened to be the day that his office had its very famous annual Christmas in July party. And I went to the party, and it was quite the party. And I was amazed at two things. One, how many people were there, and the rank of the people who were there. The most senior leadership of the institution and everybody else was there. So I concluded, I remember thinking about this afterwards, that Dominic Galante was a very important person for me to get to know well.
I can't really say that there's one funny story that I could say about Dominic. I can say that through the 5 years that I've been here, we've had many very good laughs at lunch.
Yes.
And he has provided great accompaniment to our lunches.
I remember in the registrar's office when it was still over in the college hall, which was a real long time ago. I don't know if he remembers ever meeting me there, but I can remember when we actually used to register by hand. That's when I was a student here, and we would put that up, and he would be there, "Give me your paper!" So, some things don't change.
Icon. Entertainment.
Fun. Dignified fun.
Persnickety.
Feisty.
Charismatic.
Awesome.
Outgoing.
Helpful.
Fantastic. Outstanding. That's 2 words, but he's worth 2 words.
Genuine.
Compassionate / efficient.
Character.
Consummate professional.
Wonderful.
Unique.
Friendly. No. 1 word. Attentive. No. Helpful. No, that's not the word. Charming. That's not it. Competent. Responsive. I'm sorry, I just can't sum Dominic up in 1 word.